morning, children. Today we are going to study about simple pendulum and the various terms related to that. Now, children, simple pendulum, when we talk about simple pendulum, it is nothing but a metallic bob which is suspended from a rigid support with the help of a light thread. Now, the discovery of simple pendulum has a very interesting story. It was discovered by Galileo Galilei, who was an Italian scientist. When he was observing a prayer meet in a church, he observed that a lamp which is suspended from the ceiling of a church with the help of a iron chain was moving, or you can say was oscillating, moving from one side to other and then again back to the center, and this was taking the same time period where the pulse of his heart also took the same time to complete one oscillation. So, depending upon that, he performed many experiments and then he come to the conclusion that a pendulum of a definite length always take the same time to complete one oscillation, and the time period of a pendulum of a particular length does not depend upon the material of the bob with which it is suspended. Now, based on this, we have so many pendulum clocks and wall clocks which have this pendulum suspended in the middle and which oscillate and perform the oscillatory motion. Now, let us discuss the parts of a pendulum. As we discussed earlier, pendulum is a metallic ball which is suspended by means of a rigid support with the help of a light thread material. Now, there are different terms associated with the center position. When the pendulum is not moving, the center position is called mean position. When we give attached to this pendulum, then it starts moving, move from A to B, then B to A, then from A to C and again C to A. Out of this, the center position where the pendulum is at rest is called the mean position, and the two positions towards the side, they are called the extreme position. Extreme position B, extreme position C. Now, coming to the terms related to pendulum. First one is time period. Time period means the time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation. Now, what I mean by one oscillation, suppose if a pendulum starts from this position B, then it comes to A, go to C, comes to A, and then again it comes to B. When we take this, complete this one ground, then we say that the pendulum has completed one oscillation. Now, coming to the next term, amplitude. Amplitude means the maximum distance from the mean position to either side of the pendulum is called amplitude. For example, A is the mean position, then the maximum distance this pendulum can move on the either side. That is, the distance between A to B is amplitude, or the distance from A to C is the amplitude. And A to B is equal to A to C. Coming to the third important term, that is time period. Time period is the time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation. The formula to calculate is the time taken by a pendulum upon the number of oscillations the pendulum is doing. So, we can also calculate the time taken to, if the number of oscillations are given, then we can find out the time taken to complete those many oscillations when we multiply time period with number of oscillations. Or we can also find out number of oscillations when we change this time period with number of oscillations. So, number of oscillations would be time taken upon time period. Now, we are going to start the next topic, that is motion and speed. You already have an idea of motion and rest, when an object is motion and when it is in motion and when it is at rest. When we say that object is in motion, when the position of the object changes with respect to the time and surrounding, then we can say that the object is in motion. Now, coming to the characteristics of a moving body, there are two features of a moving reference point, which is basically a stationary point, with reference to that stationary point the object moves. Second, the position of the body must change with the time. So we can say that object is in motion only when the position of that object is changing with the reference to the stationary point. Now depending upon this, we have two types of motion, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. And talk about uniform motion, when a body covers equal distance in equal interval of time, then such type of motion is called uniform motion. When the body covers unequal distance in equal interval of time, such type of motion is called non-uniform motion. When we talk about uniform motion, for example, in case of uniform motion, when we draw a graph between, for example, when we draw a graph between time taken and distance covered, here distance and here time taken, then in case of a uniform motion we get a straight line. So when object is showing a straight line, when a graph is plotted between the distance covered and the time taken, then we say that the object is showing uniform motion. But in case of non-uniform motion, when the same is when we draw a graph between time and distance, then in case of a non-uniform motion, we get a curved line. So now children, I hope that the topic uniform motion, non-uniform motion and simple pendulum is clear to you. Thank you children.
Good morning children. Today we are going to study about simple pendulum, uniform motion, non-uniform motion and velocity. Now let's start. Now coming to simple pendulum. A simple pendulum consists of a small metallic bob which is suspended from a rigid stand by means of a thread. Now here this is the rigid support which is being given, and this is the long thread, and this A is the metallic bob which is suspended to the rigid support by means of a thread. Now, when the bob of the pendulum is released after taking it slightly to one side, then this bob starts moving to and fro. This to and fro movement of a simple pendulum is an example of oscillatory or a periodic motion. Now, let us see what are the terms which are related to simple pendulum. Coming to the first term, that is the mean position. Now, when a pendulum is at rest, then the position of the bob is called the mean position or the rest position. Coming to extreme position, the position of the bob at the maximum distance from the mean position is called extreme position. There are two extreme positions on either side of the mean position. Coming to the length of the pendulum, the distance between the point of suspension to the center of the gravity of the bob is called the length of the pendulum. Coming to oscillatory motion, the bob of the pendulum moves to and fro along the same path and then it passes through the mean position. This type of motion is called oscillatory motion. Coming to oscillations, the complete to and fro motion of the pendulum constitute one complete oscillation. Coming to the amplitude, the maximum displacement of the pendulum, that is, the displacement between the mean position and the extreme position, is called its amplitude. Coming to time period, the time taken by an oscillating pendulum to make one complete oscillation is called its time period. Coming to the frequency, that is, the number of oscillation made by a pendulum in 1 second is called its frequency of oscillation. The unit for frequency in SI system is the hertz. Coming to the next topic, motion and speed. When an object is said to be in motion, when it changes its position with respect to time and with respect to the surrounding, then the object is said to be in motion. Now, the characteristics of a moving body, there should be a reference point and the point should be a stationary. That reference point will describe the position of the given body, and the position of the given body must continuously change with the time and with respect to the reference point. Depending upon this, there are two types of motion: uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Uniform motion, when a body covers equal distance in equal interval of time, then the motion is called uniform motion, and in this uniform motion, direction of motion remains the same. Coming to the variable motion or non-uniform motion, when a body covers unequal distance in equal interval of time in a straight line, then this type of motion is called variable motion or non-uniform motion. Now, motion of an object can be represented in a pictorial form by means of a distance-time graph. Now, let us see how we describe uniform motion with the help of distance-time graph. On x-axis, we plot the time taken by an object to move, and on y-axis, we plot the distance covered by an object. Now, when we plot a graph, when the object is moving the uniform motion with respect to distance and time, we get a straight line. So this straight line indicates that the object is moving with a uniform motion. And same thing when we are plotting a graph between distance and time. In case of a non-uniform motion, instead of getting a straight line, we get a curved line. This curved line indicates that the object is moving with a non-uniform motion. Coming to the next topic, that is the speed. The movement of an object in unit time is called speed. Speed is the distance traveled by the body in unit time. Now, coming to the formula, speed is equal to distance covered by time taken. Coming to the unit of speed, speed is unit of distance upon unit of time. We know that unit of distance is meter, unit of time is second. So the unit of speed is meter per second. So the SI unit of speed is meter per second. And when we write down the formula, if we represent the speed, S is the distance, T is the time taken, then V is equal to S upon T. Now remember, speed is having only magnitude, does not have any direction. So speed is a scalar quantity. So here speed is equal to distance upon time. Now we know that speed is equal to distance upon time. So if we have to calculate time, then we are going to replace time with speed. So here time is equal to distance upon speed. Now, what is distance? Distance, we multiply time with the speed, we will get the distance. Now, there are two apparatus which are fitted in our vehicle. One is speedometer. This speedometer tells us how fast we are going at a given instant of time. And that is, a speedometer measures instantaneous speed. Coming to the next, and it is odometer. Odometer is a device which measures the distance covered by a vehicle. So, speedometer measures the speed of a vehicle in kilometer per hour, and at the same time, odometer measures the distance covered by a vehicle. Thank you children. Keep watching.